Hi, everyone. Welcome to GenX Living Life. My name is Maggie,
And I'm Penny.
and today we're going to talk about how Gen X watched the future happen right before our eyes. Much of what we take for granted today was the stuff of science fiction when we were kids. Generation X witnessed and experienced numerous developments and technological advancements that seemed futuristic at the time and have since become a reality. Here are 10 notable examples. Number one, personal computers. In the 1980s, the idea of having a computer at home was futuristic because back in the day, only major companies or government had those huge rooms of wall sized computers, didn't
Right.
they?
On TV, like even Wonder Woman had this computer that talked to you and things like that. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So the rise of personal computers like the Apple II, the IBM PC revolutionized the way people work and live. Right now, we can't
Change.
even imagine life without a PC or a laptop.
It's true. We can't live without it. Okay, and the second thing we'll talk about is the internet or the World Wide Web. In the 1990s, just the concept of having the internet on your computer was unimaginable. We never would have thought something like that would happen. But,
It's
it's
true.
really transformed our communication, our, commerce.
That's right. I mean, before everything was either done by phone call or by mail. Or
Fax.
if you worked in an office, it was inter-office correspondence.
Yeah.
There was no real-time communication
Yeah.
otherwise by that. And I remember my first experience with email was back in the 90s. It was I think it was 1993, 1994, and I worked at a college back then, and they had just started using email, and at the time, it was limited to only a few people because the infrastructure was not the way it is now.
Mm.
So it
Yeah.
was very unique and very exciting. It was also kind of weird
Yeah.
because we were so used to sending.
Yeah, it's something new to us. Yeah. I mean,
Yep,
before the government had this, we never had it.
yep,
But in essence, it's really shrinking the world. You can email someone
yes,
across, the world and you get a response right away.
exactly, in real time.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you didn't have to wait for a response, you didn't have to wait for a letter in the mail.
Yeah, 14 days or something, or a
14
week, who
days, you
knows?
didn't
Yeah.
have to and you didn't have to pay a fortune, with, long distance calling as
True.
well.
True.
So, it was unique. Of course, not everybody had it. It was still very limited back in the 90s, but, yeah, those were the early days, and, uh, it was it was so new that it felt like it should be hard or difficult, but it really wasn't.
I still remember the email as DOS. It was just
Yeah.
monochromatic.
Mhm.
Remember that? Yeah.
Exactly, I remember that.
We've come a long
From
way.
We have come a long way from that.
Yeah.
The third futuristic thing was Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Before everything, you had to have a connection to a device, connection to an electrical plug,
Wires.
and you were wired, so you were tethered to your device. Um, and you were just stuck there. You couldn't go anywhere. Now with Wi-Fi, you can be more mobile, correct?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I mean the you can have your computer in your room, or and the Wi-Fi is downstairs. The Wi-Fi goes really far. Your speaker, your music, you don't have to have it plugged in. You can just have it
exactly.
Bluetooth and right next to you. It's great.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. I love that invention.
It's great, and with Wi-Fi, you can connect anywhere. So you can bring your device with you to a coffee shop or a restaurant or just any place or on your vacation, and be connected. And you don't have to find an outlet or anything. You just connect to whatever the Wi-Fi is, and Bluetooth, so you can listen to uh, to your music or your show or whatever it is. So that made us get up and live life a little bit and take our technology with us.
And then the fourth invention, which helps all of us not get lost, is GPS navigation.
That's
You know,
right.
yeah, it actually it Well, it's in cars and in smartphones now. Usually it makes navigation easier and it's supposed to be accurate, although sometimes we know it's not. But but the first actual navigation system in a car was in a Mazda in Japan. And
Mhm.
that was in 1990.
Oh,
Then the
okay.
United States kind of followed suit about 10 years later. And prior to that, it was a separate GPS unit,
Right,
and
like
it
a
wasn't
Garmin, right?
right, exactly. And it was built, it wasn't built in. And later on, like I said, in like the early 2000s, they started building them in, and now it's pretty much standard, which
It's
is
pretty
great.
much standard in cars, but back in the
Hmm.
day, it was either landmarks
Or maps.
or maps,
Hmm.
physical paper maps that
Yeah.
were fun to fold back up once you scanned them, or a road atlas,
I know.
which
Yeah.
were these gigantic books
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
with all the roads and the major
Right.
highways and
Yeah.
everything.
On the West Coast, they had something called the Thomas Guide, which we didn't have on the
Oh,
East Coast. I don't know if
oh,
you've ever
okay.
heard of that. Yeah,
No.
it's a spiral map, like a book, and like if you go look at the top, it'll say page 34, and it'll continue if you turn to page 34. It's like you're
Mhm.
moving along the map, so it's a little more compact than a map.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Fortunately, in school, we were taught how to read maps,
were we really?
and we were,
I
at
don't
least I
remember that.
was in school, and how to learn how to use the legend or the key, which is a street, which is a road, which is an interstate, which is a river, the distance,
Mm,
how it measures actual distance,
the mile, the little
uh,
marker, yeah.
the little markers and everything. So yeah, we had to do things. It wasn't done for us. We had to do it ourselves, but we were taught in school.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. And I
Mhm.
mean, if GPS or the internet ever goes down, we have to go back to a map. So
We're
it's
gonna,
always a
yeah.
good skill to have, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And as fast as construction and road work is done, the as soon as it's published, it's obsolete.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the GPS sometimes isn't caught up either,
True. True.
so yeah. It's a good invention though. I love it.
Yeah, GPS navigation. I would never leave the house without it.
Hmm.
All right. The next thing on our list, number five, is smartphones and mobile internet.
My
Can you
favorite.
imagine living life without that
I cannot
today?
live.
Well, we did once a long time ago, but in the early 2000s, so anytime before the 2000s, we were without that.
Mhm.
Um, we saw the rise of the smartphones, which combine the capabilities of computers and mobile phones. Devices like the iPhone, introduced in 2007. So, how long ago was 2007 now?
Oh my God.
About 18 years ago, 17 years ago. Where would we be without it?
Yeah, when I leave my phone at home, I feel like I've left my arm at home. I have to drive back home and get it.
It has become a part of our
Yes.
body.
Yes.
We can't be without it, and it's got everything. It's got phone. Yeah.
Mhm.
We use it as a phone sometimes. We can text somebody. We can surf the internet. We can watch YouTube. We can go shopping. There's
Mhm.
nothing that we can't do without
Right.
that phone.
So much and so much information, and no one knows you better than your cell phone.
That's the truth. But remember when the cell phones first came out? I'll remember my first one,
Oh.
and it was an AT&T, and it was back in 2000. It was about 2007, but it was the size of a brick, and it weighed as much as a brick.
My
So
God.
you had a handbag, you needed one big enough to hold that thing, and that put on some serious weight. But um, the charges back then, it's a lot cheaper as far as having service with a cell
Hmm.
phone
Hmm.
now.
Yeah, I remember my first cell phone was a Nokia, the indestructible one. I think it was
Mhm.
2003 or something like that. Yeah, but you're right. When it comes to phone calls, now remember we used to have to call at a certain time for it to be free. You don't use your minutes and things like that.
Yeah,
We had
there
to
was
count our
peak
minutes. Yeah.
hours and non-peak hours and peak
Right.
days.
Right.
So if you called after 7 o'clock
Hmm.
PM or something like that, then
Yeah.
the rate was cheaper.
Right.
So yeah, it was considered a luxury
Yeah.
still
It was
back in
expensive back
those days.
then. Yeah.
Now it is you can't be without it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I remember the flip phones when they came out. They were reminding me of the Star Trek communicator.
Yes. Yeah.
They flipped open and everything, and they
Hmm.
were just so cute. And they weighed nothing. That was much better than the original, the
Yeah.
first ones that came along.
Yeah. I
So
remember that. And now we actually even have like our watch. We can answer our call on our watch, just like on Dick
yeah,
Tracy.
just like Dick
Yeah.
Tracy.
I've
So
done it many
yeah,
times.
but
Yeah.
we can't imagine life without it
Yeah.
nowadays.
Very
But
important.
we did live life at least for the
It was
first
so difficult back then. Oh my gosh.
30 years of our lives. We were without smartphones.
Yes.
And now, like the next 30
Yeah.
years of our lives, we just can't
Yeah.
see life
Can't live
without
without it. Yeah.
it.
Okay, and the sixth invention, one of my favorites, is digital music and movie streaming and show streaming. We used to use physical media like DVDs and VHS, things like that. Um,
Records and
yeah.
CDs and
Hmm. Yeah.
cassette tape
Right. Right. Exactly.
and even the occasional 8 track.
Right. If anybody remembers what that is. Yeah, it's like, believe it or not, it's crazy, right? But now we've got digital music, which is in MP3 form. It's a
Exactly.
tiny file. You could put hundreds of songs on your phone, hundreds of songs on your computer.
Yep.
Um, Streaming movies, you can put them on your phone as well. It's MP4 format. It's on your computer, and let's say like things like Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu. All these shows are streaming. Um, I can go on NBC and look up an old SNL episode.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
the neat thing is that you don't have to go by a schedule. You go on your own
Right.
schedule.
Hmm.
Whenever you're ready to watch it, it is there. You
Yeah.
don't even have to go through the trouble of recording it with a VHS anymore.
Right. Right. And you don't have to go to the store to return your VHS tape or your DVD. It's one of my
Hmm.
favorites. And then it doesn't take up any space, any physical space,
Exactly.
which is so great. It's like I said, one of my most favorite inventions. Made our life
You can
better.
streamline your space, and you don't need the extra media anymore.
Right. And
Mhm.
everything's virtual. You can pull it up whenever you want. It's, on demand, literally very much on demand.
Yeah, and you could watch it,
10
on your
times.
laptop, or you could watch it on your phone. You could watch it on your big screen TV if you wanna relax and do it that way and have the theater experience. You can have the theater experience at
At
home.
home. Yeah. I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would only go to the movies when it's like an action movie and you want the sound, but
Right,
people
the
even have
special effects.
yeah, people have surround sound at home now. It's great. Yeah.
Exactly, why leave?
Right. Exactly. And you can watch it like you can watch the same movie 10 times if you want. Yeah.
Exactly, all you have to do is pay the subscription
Hmm.
service,
Hmm.
and it's not expensive.
Right. And you can binge watch whole seasons of shows. You don't have
Instead
to
of waiting
wait.
a whole week.
That used to kill me. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait
What's
for what
what
happened
was worse
next.
was the cliffhanger at the end of a season, and you
Yes,
had to wait all summer
the
until the
worst.
fall season when the new episodes came out,
Right,
and then find out what happened
exactly.
after that cliffhanger.
It's the worst.
That was excruciating.
It was. It's
You
so
just don't
painful.
for you
Kids don't
millennials and
know.
Gen Z, you don't know. You just don't know. Oh my gosh, the anticipation.
Yeah.
But the anticipation was also fun,
Because
but
we'd
it
all
was
surmise about what might happen or what, like all these theories and things like that.
oh, remember, Who Shot JR?
Yeah, yeah. That was a
If you
big
know,
deal.
you know. Number 7 is social media. You have no idea how social media has evolved from the time that of Gen X because we didn't have social media in the past. We had word of mouth. Is how we got to know everybody else, how we got to know the gossip. Whatever happened to so and so from school, blah, blah, blah. Well, now with social media, you can find that out. But the earliest platforms, AOL, that's for those that are not in the know, is America Online.
Online.
There was that instant messenger, so you can communicate with each other in real time.
It's kind of like
That was the
IM.
pre. I
Yeah.
think that was the precursor
Mhm.
to texting.
Yeah, kind of.
I think so. Yahoo Geosites. Does that take you back? A lot of you probably never heard of it.
I never heard of
Classmates.com to find out whatever happened to the crush that you had way
it.
back then, whatever became of their lives. Chat rooms, they morphed into platforms like MySpace. Y'all remember MySpace?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Whatever happened to MySpace?
I actually found my half brother on MySpace.
Did you?
Yeah, because our names are unique. Like Thai names are unique for that family. And I was
Okay.
just on my friend's MySpace because I didn't have it. And I looked up our last name and I was like, hey, who's this? And then, so I was like, oh, this must be another brother, And so I messaged him using my other brother's MySpace. And sure enough, he's a brother that we did not know existed. He was by
How
then
about that?
17 years old. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of stories like that for people. I mean, I think that's great, when you find
A lot of
family.
reunions.
Yeah.
Yep. Rekindling
Yeah.
friendships,
Great.
uh, starting new relationships,
Hmm.
even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So MySpace, that was like the father or the competitor, maybe, of Facebook, which now we all know what Facebook is. But MySpace has gone to the wayside and made room for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And that's changed the way that people connect, share information, and interact globally. I mean, you can interact with anybody in the world
Yeah.
anymore.
It's
So
amazing.
social media influence on society, uh, that was unimaginable. You could go your whole life and not and wonder about what would happen to my old friend, and lose touch that
Yeah.
way. It's a
Has positives, has negatives also. So, with every positive, there's some negative. But yeah, it's great. I keep in touch with my family in Thailand. It's great.
Another thing is that before, you would share photos by
Hmm.
mail
Hmm.
with
Right.
your relatives, and now you could just upload them
Yeah.
and share them on social media, and people would be able to share that with each other,
Like in real
special
time.
moments and things
Yeah.
like that in real time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, like I said, my family's all the way on the other side of the world.
Mhm.
And now I can see things right away. It's great. I love it.
It's great. I mean, can you imagine living a lifetime, the first, what, 35 years of our lives without
Yeah.
social media?
So number 8 is virtual reality and augmented reality. Yeah. This is something that definitely, we never would have thought would ever happen. I mean, on Star Trek Next Generation, they had like a holodeck.
Yeah, the
That's
holodeck. I
probably
remember
sort
that.
of the close, yeah, the closest, sort of the closest thing. It's sort of like an immersive digital experience that's kind of come to life by using these headsets. It enhances gaming. It can be used for education. They used it for like flight simulation, back in the day to teaching pilots and things like that. Um,
Right.
yeah. So I guess the first sort of invention into virtual reality would be Sega company in 1991, way back then. And now you've got, the headsets, you've got these rooms, these virtual rooms that people are in, and they go in with an avatar. Like I can create an avatar that kind
Yep.
of looks like me. If you ever watch those movies like Ready Player One or things like
Right.
that, really cool movies. But that's pretty much. I mean, it's a real fantasy world.
Yeah, it's a metaverse, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very cool. I mean, I think the education part's very good for the pilots and for driving, things like that.
For simulation
Yeah. Hmm.
to hone your skills
Yeah.
and have you experience things firsthand,
Hmm.
but in a safe
And you
environment.
don't get hurt, right? Exactly. Exactly.
Number 9 on our list is e-commerce. Online shopping, epitomized by companies like Amazon, has transformed retail. The convenience of buying products online and having them delivered to your doorstep was once futuristic. The only thing that we could think of that was delivered to our doorstep besides the mail, I think, was milk, when the milkman would come along. But that wasn't even done online. I think that was done. I don't even know how that was done. We never had that
We lived in the
experience.
city. We didn't have that. We had to go buy ours.
Well, now I could go online and order milk and have that delivered to me.
Same
So,
day.
yeah. So in the past, online shopping really meant ordering from a catalog or from a TV commercial and either send your order through post office and receive it. through the post office or by making a telephone call would probably be the most modern
The
way
closest
that things
way,
are done
yeah, to yeah, that was
because operators were standing by.
yes, that was a common line. That's right. Call now and you can get a discount. You can
That's right. And so you could place your order on the phone, and that was about as e-commerce as we got, but it wasn't it was by telephone. So that was a game changer.
yeah. Finally, we're at number 10, electric cars and cars that drive themselves. You know, isn't it amazing you can have a car that drives itself? That's just wild to me.
That is wild to me, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Yeah. Electric cars like Tesla, and then also China has a lot of electric cars. They're just getting better and better. You know, the battery's getting smaller, it's lasting longer, more powerful. Automated cars, they do your food delivery, your medication delivery. Yeah, it's still they're still hashing out the little I guess problems with them, but yeah, it's very interesting that they can do that, and I think it's it's both good and bad. You know, there's always a good and bad side to each.
Hmm.
Even if you remember back then, we used to have a car key. Now we have the
The fob.
remote. Yeah, and that was like in the early '80s when they finally started that. You know,
Hmm.
so we don't have to like touch our car to unlock it and lock it. so,
Exactly.
so many
So
things.
the EVs, I don't know how the infrastructure and the grid is going to sustain that, but
Yeah,
hopefully, as technology moves along, there'll be a more efficient way to charge up the vehicles
yeah,
and
that's been a problem.
give you longer battery life and distance.
Yeah, and charging stations and things like that, and
And
you
maybe
know,
charging won't take very long.
right, right, and they have to be more efficient also, because right now, like, what it takes to build it, and cause waste, what you pay for it, by the time you actually kind of break even,
Hmm.
is when the life of the battery is almost over. You know,
And those batteries, I understand, are a fortune.
yes, and they're polluting when you have to get rid of them too.
So is
So
it really solving a problem?
yeah, see that it's solving one problem and creating a few other problems. So those are the 10 things that we never imagined would be in our future.
Exactly. Those were so futuristic that we just never saw it happening in our lifetime. But not only did we watch it happen, we experienced it happening in real time. And we were the pioneers of the new tech, whereas the newer generation, they've had that tech all their lives and can't
All they
imagine their
know.
lives without it.
Yeah, it's all they know.
With that, we're going to sign off and we appreciate you listening. If you can think of other things that we have experienced, please leave it down in the comments. Also, please like and subscribe to our channel and share it with a friend. So until next time, take care.
Bye. See you.
Bye.